to another edition of It's Just Our Opinion. As y'all know, the election's getting close. March the 3rd is right around the corner. Today we have a very special guest. We got Coach Tommy Tuberville running for the Senate. Coach.
Glad to be here.
Welcome to the show.
1835?
1837.
Oh,
The
man.
oldest courthouse in the state, the oldest original courthouse.
Man, they don't make them like this anymore, do they?
Don't make them, and we spend a lot keeping it up here too.
Yeah.
It's used to community center. A lot of people use it. So.
Really, if this building could talk.
Oh yes, a lot of stories.
Oh,
yes. Sometimes we're glad it don't talk. But let's dive into this campaign. Why of all things, you retired, you got everything going. Why do you want to be in the Senate?
Well, I've been in public life for 40 years, coaching, been in education, been in homes and businesses and schools all over the country, talked to people, dealt with people, and I noticed about the last 10 or 12 years that we're in trouble. Our career politicians have kicked the can down the road. We've got socialism. It's a tidal wave coming at us, and they don't know what to do. The one guy that's trying to save us is Donald Trump, and he's up there trying, and I think he's doing a great job. But you got these politicians that a lot of them are taking money from special interests, and they don't care. They just up there for themselves. And if we don't start sending people up there that try to get them some things done, the country's not going to make it. As me and you know, we're in a tough bind. And just look at the left right now. I mean, they're getting ready to possibly elect in their primary a socialist communist. And where does that come from? It comes from our education system, and we've ruined it. We've got a lot of good schools and teachers. Let me tell you something. Our Department of Education in Washington, D.C. has absolutely corrupted liberalism and socialism in our schools, and it's indoctrinating our kids. And if our politicians don't wake up and smell the roses, it's going to be over.
It is. It's kind of sad. You mentioned the Democratic front runner. Don't even claim to be a Democrat, but he's winning the primaries. Claim to be an independent.
You know what's amazing to me is the Democratic Party accepted him as a communist socialist to run within their party. And it just absolutely mind-boggling to me. But, that's our country now. There's nobody, the animals running the zoo, so to speak. President Trump is trying to now get control of it, but, you've got the rhinos, you've got the Republicans that don't care about him. They're just, they're trying to get in his way. And, of course, Democrats are not going to help him at all.
It's kind of scary.
Oh, it's really scary. And, I'm doing this as you asked me why I'm doing it for your grandkids and kids and my kids and the people of this state and country, because I really don't care. I'm going to speak out. If I don't get reelected, it doesn't make me any difference. But we've got these career swamp politicians that I'm running against that could care nothing other than a job and a salary. I'm not taking a paycheck. The money I make is going directly every month. I'm going to present it, radio or television, to a veteran's wife, widow, kids that need school, handicap, a home for guys and girls that have gone over and lost their leg, or been burned all over their body. We should be ashamed of ourselves, of how we've treated our veterans, because they have lost life and limb for our freedom. And our politicians sure have helped them. The guys I'm running against have not done one thing to help them, but the people of this country need to realize if it not for them, we wouldn't have the freedoms we have today. There's 22 a day that commit suicide. Until we get that to zero, we're wrong. All of us are wrong.
I believe that's the first time that I've heard you wouldn't take a salary, that you was going to use this.
Well, I'm telling everybody that, and of course I've challenged these other guys, but they're in it for the money. I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it to try to help Donald Trump in this country get back on the right track, because right now, he's the only positive thing that's going in this country, and of course they're all fighting him. Everybody in D.C. is fighting. Don't think that the Republicans are with him either. They fight him every day.
Folks, you heard it right here. Coach Tuberville will not take his Senate salary. He'll use it to promote veteran interests and stuff. I appreciate that.
Well, my dad died in the military. He landed at 18. Think about this. At 18 years old, landed at Normandy, drove a tank across Europe, 5 Bronze Stars and a Purple Heart. At 18, I couldn't get my kids out of bed at 18. And that was a different generation. And then he stayed in the military all his life and lost his life on a training mission with a massive heart attack. So the veterans are very dear to me, and we're all responsible for this until we get everything right for our veterans, because they deserve it.
They definitely do. Like I said, we wouldn't be sitting here today without the
No,
numbers. We
no.
wouldn't be able to. Now, you know, you kind of touched on it some here already. You're an outsider. You're not a career politician. How effective do you think you can be as being an outsider?
Well, they're gonna hear me screaming and yelling. The problem we have is these politicians wanna go back. You know, two of these guys that I'm running against have been up there combined 30 years. What have they done? I mean, sooner or later, you gotta figure out, hey, I can't fool anybody anymore. You know, they're gonna catch up with me, and we have kicked the can down the road for so long that they have put us in a bind. This country is basically run on autopilot for the last 50 years, you know, because politicians don't get anything done. The only thing they do is they spend more money than we send them. And,
Well, they worry about re-election.
huh?
They worry about re-election.
That's exactly. You know, they come during election time, and then you see their lights going down the road leaving, and you don't see them again, so they're trying to get reelected again. And so we need term limits. Golly, we need different. Everybody says, well, what about seniority and all of it? Listen, that doesn't work anymore. We've ruined our country because of no term limits. We've got guys up there. Joe Biden's been up there 51 years. Give me a break. Go get a real job. You know, go figure out how we have all lived and paid taxes and gone through our problems. And again, I've been in a perfect job for a senator. I've worked with the #1 commodity in this country, which is our young people. I've tried to teach them leadership, responsibility, and all that, but I've had the opportunity to go into the inner cities all over the country, to the rural communities, the hospitals, the businesses, and I see how people are doing well, and I see people that are doing bad. But I also have been watching the direction this country has taken, and it's not anything that our forefathers would ever wish on anybody.
Nothing like they had planned. You know, speaking of outsiders, the guy that you've mentioned several times, President Trump, is an outsider. You know, he's had
And he's the
struggles.
best.
He's got a lot done.
He's the best person that has been in Washington D.C. since I've been watching, and I was a Ronald Reagan fan.
Oh, yeah.
But the difference in Donald Trump, he had a plan when he got there. He went straight after China. They've been stealing from us for years. All the politicians that are probably getting money from China are all saying, "Well, you can't do that. You know, it's going to cause all kind of problems." He said, "Listen, you just get behind me, and you've not done anything, and we're going to get something done." And he has challenged the career politicians up there. And normally the government goes like this, real slow, because the faster it goes, the more decisions they have to make. And when they do that, they lose votes. So they're scared of not getting reelected. Donald Trump's got that wheel going. And he said, "Hey, get on or get off." You know, like I used to tell my football team, "Hey, are you going to be a steak eater and a bus rider, or are you going to be on the team to try to help us win?" And a bunch of these career corrupt politicians, all they want to do is to be in the limelight and have those 2 martini lunches and be in the club.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep the resume going.
Keep that resume going. And of course, I've noticed it the last 2 weeks. You know, I finally moved into the lead in the polls, and man, the millions of dollars are coming right at me saying, "Hey, he doesn't live in the state." Have they lost their mind? He hadn't paid taxes in Alabama. How about for 22 years? I paid more taxes in a 22-year period than these guys were paying a lifetime in the state of Alabama. They ought to be ashamed of themselves, because all they do is they don't do anything, so they attack other people. They don't run on anything positive because they have not ever done anything positive.
Exactly. Now, we hear all the candidates talk about Alabama values. You know, we're special in Alabama. Do you think there's any difference in Alabama values and those in other parts of the country?
Well, I would say more of the South, you know, and throw several other states in there. But Alabama is a place that believes in God, Christianity. It believes in family. It believes in hard work and work ethic. Some other states believe in that, but you got some of the states in this country that have turned socialist, and they don't believe in anything other than give me something free.
Yeah.
You know, this country, if you were born in this country, you hit the lottery. It's the
Oh,
greatest
yeah.
country on the face of the earth.
Sure.
But the only thing that this country, and I used to tell all my football players this, the only thing this country gives you guys is the opportunity to work hard and achieve what you want, because you're going to get what you put into it. And if you don't, you're going to be out on the streets. If you want to work and be a head football coach in a college, or a senator, or a CEO, you can do that. Now, it's going to take sweat, pain, setbacks, but you just gotta stay focused, because this country gives you that opportunity to do it. No other country does that.
And nothing's free. You gotta work for it.
Well, they're trying to teach you that. And again, you asked me about the values of Alabama. The people of Alabama still believe in working for what they get. The people of some of these other states up north, they're teaching our kids, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. The government.
And that's sad. You never want to depend on the government.
No, well, the government's never
Especially
done, they've never done anything right.
No. Well, look, this is your first campaign to ever run for elective office. Is campaigning what you thought it would be?
It's recruiting on steroids. Now, I've recruited all my life. I've been all over the place, every state, big cities, small cities, and you gotta like it. Now, I have figured out in 11 months, me and my wife thought about this for about 2 months. We talked about running, we prayed about it, and then I saw the problems of President Trump, and I was ecstatic when he got elected. And when Paul Ryan and Jeff Sessions quit on him, about that time, I said, I gotta help somehow. I gotta help. I just can't sit back and enjoy the rest of my life. I wanna go help, because if somebody doesn't just go out there and try to do something, then I don't know whether we make it. The reason I can do this is I don't have to spend $5 million in this state of telling people who I am. And I'm a politician's worst nightmare, because, hey, man, they know this guy. They laughed at me when I first got in it. But then they started hearing me speak, and then I haven't quit traveling and going around the state for 11 months. I mean, nobody's ever done it like me. I have busted it, and I've gone around and touched the flesh of people and tell them why I'm doing this. And again, I don't need this job. I want it. I'm not taking a salary, giving it to veterans, and I'm not going to be politically correct. I'm sick of that, because
Maybe that's what they need in Montgomery.
Well,
I'm not Montgomery, but Washington D.C.
Well, there's nothing in the Constitution that says you can't have your feelings hurt.
Oh, I know.
And our politician in Washington D.C., they're scared. Well, wait a minute, we can't say that about that group of people, because might offend them. Well, who cares? Go by our laws, go by our Constitution, be an American, work hard to make ends meet, and take care of yourself and your family. And we take everybody here.
Oh, yeah. Well, this kind of touches on that too. President Trump wants to complete the wall. He's got a lot of it already built on the southern border. Where do you stand on that?
Oh, man. I've been to the border more times than probably anybody, because I worked in Texas for a while. I've got buddies that work at the border. I got friends that work at hospitals on the border. And I can call one of those guys in the hospital in any month, during the month, and go, well, what's the flavor of the month? Well, we got people coming from Africa this month, because when they come across the border, they go into the hospitals because they're sick or whatever. Next month, it might be from Honduras. Next month, it might be from the Middle East. They're all coming. Why are they coming? Because we're the only country that's not burning. And they want to be a part of it. Now, we want immigrants, but we need to put that wall up. President Trump's exactly right. Put it up. Decide who comes in here, because we got to know who's here. Because you know what's happening. People are coming here not to assimilate. They're coming here to take us down.
Oh, yeah.
They're trying to change our culture. So we need a wall. If you come here illegally, then it really makes me mad, because these politicians that I'm running against, they're running these ads on television. Oh, he's for amnesty. I'm not for anybody's amnesty. You come here the wrong way, illegally, no chance for citizenship. You got to go back, get in line, like everybody else did. We're all immigrants, but you got to do it. We don't award breaking the law for citizenship. We don't do that. But we got to know who's here. We got to stop the drugs. We're losing 60,000 people a year to drugs. And let me say this about the coronavirus: terror. Comes here and it kills 5,000 people, we'll be up in arms. We lose 60,000 a year to drug overdoses.
Yeah,
And you don't hear our politicians screaming and yelling about that.
No, you don't hear. I've been to the border myself a few times. I've been down to where the legal entry is, and it's just a steady flow coming and going. And you talk to folks, and they say, just a few miles up, they're climbing over the wall the same way, the fence. And some places there's no fence. I mean, there's nothing. You just walk across. And
I've got a buddy that works in the hospital, and he's a doctor there. He said that ladies will come across the border, get a one-day pass. They'll sit at Walmart, pregnant. They'll wait till they go into labor. They'll come over. He said, we'll deliver a dozen, 2 dozen babies a week. They get a month, 2 month, 3 months supply of food, diapers, and a citizenship paper. They're born in the United States. They're citizens. That's not wrong. We got to change that law. It's got to be changed. Times have changed. We got to change with the times, because everybody wants to live here, and we want people to come here, but come the right way, and come here to be an American. Don't come here to change our culture and our laws and our Constitution. We're not doing that.
But if you come, we want you legal. If you're not legal, we don't want you legal.
Exactly. And pay your own way. You know, I've got a friend, his daughter went to Italy last summer, and she had to go for a year for some kind of training. But before she could go, she had to show that she had $50,000 in the bank and 2 valid credit cards, because they don't want you to come over there and living off the government. Does that sound familiar? But we invite them. You know, our people in Washington, D.C., our veterans, it takes 6 months to get an appointment in the VA. It's a law. Our Congress, these guys I'm running against, passed this, that 36 hours, we gotta give them health care if they come across that board. 36 hours.
That's
But
really sad.
we kick our veterans in the teeth
Yeah.
and make them, and put them in the back of the line, but we take care of people that don't need to be here.
It's not even legal.
No.
Now look, well, you know, all the candidates, I ain't seen us, or even heard a single candidate that don't support President Trump. I know you support him now, I've sat here and heard you talk to him, but what do you think about these other candidates? I mean, everybody supports him. Now, what do you think about people saying that? Now, we know some of them's been there for a while.
Well, you gotta look at consistency. I was with him from day one, because I knew what this country was going to, because I've been out there, you know, watching how we're changing. Our whole culture is changing towards socialism. But these 2 guys, one of them, the congressman running, right before the election, he said President Trump wasn't fit to be president. Didn't vote for him. He was a Democrat 20 years ago with Clinton. So, loyalty. And then Jeff Sessions, I mean, I was fired up. He's gonna be the Attorney General from the state of Alabama, and in 12 days, he quits on President Trump, takes a knee. So, well, I had to recuse myself. No, you didn't. Fight. My God, folks, we're gonna fight. If we don't fight in this country today, when you got leadership, you better fight, because we're gonna have to fight later on if we don't fight now. And he quit on President Trump. Now, they can say that sure, they're off for President Trump. You got no chance in this state to get elected dog catcher unless you're for President Trump. But you gotta show loyalty. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be doing this, because he needs help. He needs a lot of help.
Sure does. We've seen that during the impeachment hearing.
And I won't be quitting on him, I promise you that.
Well, you know, about the time you announced, you know, real early, you got the Farmers Federation endorsement. Now, that was kind of unusual to get an endorsement even before the qualifying was really got started. Why do you think that happened?
Football coaches have plans. You know, everything I do is organized. You can't win unless you're organized. Organization is key to winning. So when I get in, it's a cell phone and me. I got no money in the bank for a campaign. I start raising money, hiring people. My number one thing was to make as many counties as possible, go around and talk to as many Farmers Federation meetings, and try to at least get a chance to get the endorsement. And I busted it. I mean, I'm everywhere shaking hands, because I'm a grassroots guy, I'm a country boy. Now, I wasn't a farmer, but I believe in farmers, because they represent this country. And so I did as much as I could for it was about, I guess, 3.5, 4 months, and then you have to go to Montgomery and give a little speech to them, all the candidates, and I was just hoping and praying that they just don't give it to anybody, you know, just give me a chance. And I'd be dang if I didn't get it. And you know what? They said, Coach, it was overwhelming that you got it.
Yeah, I heard it wasn't close.
Yeah. But I tell them the truth. I'm not gonna go in there and try to.
Well, even after you got the endorsement, some of these other career politicians, I guess we'll call them, announced they was running, and they had always been real receptive to Farmers Federation. You know, got their endorsement, but they didn't waver with it. They stuck with it.
I talk to them just like I'm talking to you. Just up front, hey, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. And if I lose a vote because I say something, it's because I believe it. And again, Rick, we have got to start speaking up in this country. We can't fold for, I gotta recuse myself, or, oh, President Trump said something bad, I'm not gonna vote for him. That's what these other 2 guys did. Hey, I understand what kind of fighter President Trump is, and he doesn't need the money. You know, he ain't taking money from big donors and special interest. I'm not either. These guys I'm going against, all their money is coming from Washington, D.C. Jeff Sessions and Bradley Byrne get every bit of their money from Washington, D.C. And they're pouring it in there, because they don't want a Donald Trump guy in there, like me. They want a swamp guy. And I'm gonna win because the people of this state understand, hey, we want somebody to go up there like Coach is gonna actually do something. I'm gonna be a voice for Alabama and a voice for Donald Trump.
Well, the polls, like I say, not being a politician, I mean, you're leading in the polls now.
Well, yeah, you know, in 11 months, I don't know how many polls they've had. We don't do many of them because it doesn't make any difference. I'm gonna work no matter what.
You never went lower than second place, that was only by a few points, so.
And only for a few weeks. So what I was excited about is probably about 85, maybe 90% of the time I've been leading. And so it's starting to resonate. I think it takes a while for people to say, you know, I like Coach, and I think they're starting to like me because number one, they trust football coaches a heck of a lot more than they do politicians in this state. I'll tell you that. But they know we work. They know we understand how to be a leader. But in DC, you've got to be a communicator. I can talk, but I can also listen, and I can also persuade people to do things if I think it's right, because that's all I've ever done. I've been a salesman.
Well, let me ask you one more question, we're about out of time here. And, you know, you was coached several years at Auburn, and you actually beat Alabama several times. Now, if you knew you was gonna run for the Senate, you probably wouldn't have beat Alabama as many times, would you?
No,
That's not answer that.
Well, that is the one thing my wife and I sat down and prayed about and thought about. It says, do you think you can get enough people in Alabama to come your way? Because we know how important that is in this state, but it's been outstanding. I'll tell you what, I was really taken back very early in the campaign. I'd go places and there'd be 100 people and 90 of them would be Alabama fans. When I get through speaking, they say, Coach, this is not a game. We're concerned for our country and our state. And we don't think we know you will do a heck of a lot better job than one of these politicians. So it's been good. I'm not gonna get every Alabama vote. I'm not gonna get every Auburn vote. But I tell you what, you know, it's been a gratifying to me to know that people are not looking at this election in that light.
I knew I had to pick at you.
Oh, that's good.
You beat us several years in a row there.
That's
So
good.
we just always have to remind you of that when we get a chance.
Yeah.
Coach, thanks for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We appreciate
God
it.
bless you, and wonderful venue here, and great to be in Somerville.
Well, we're glad to have you here, and like I say, good luck next week. It's when the election is. And
7 days.
7 days from today, and so hang in there. You got a few more days to campaign, knock on doors, and shake
Yeah.
hands.
And if it is a runoff and I'm happy to be in it, I'm gonna come back and do it again. We'll talk about it.
We'll sure get you lined up.
Thank you.
Folks, we've said a lot of stuff here today. Coach Tuberville, we're proud and honored to have him with us, but we've said a lot of stuff here. But just remember, everything we say is just our opinion.